All right. Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We're going to dive deep today into something pretty amazing. Um, it's all about sharing God's love with others.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it should be a really great topic. So we've got this great source here called How to Share God's Love with Others. Um, I was looking through it, and it's really packed with practical advice and, wisdom about, well, like the title says, how to share God's love.
Definitely. Yeah.
So I thought, well, why don't we make that our mission for this deep dive today? Like, how can we actually put these ideas into practice in our daily lives?
I think that's a great mission. I'm on board.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm ready to dive in. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So one thing that really struck me as I was going through this source is that it really emphasizes that sharing God's love, it starts with us. It starts with living a life that's like actually centered on Christ.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah. And it talks about these qualities like kindness and compassion and forgiveness. Like those are really the foundation, the building blocks.
It is kind of like the foundation, isn't it? Yeah. Because I mean, if we're not living that out ourselves, how can we possibly share it with others?
Right.
Right.
Totally. So what do you think? Like, how do we actually practice those things, those qualities in everyday life?
Well, I think it comes down to just making a conscious effort to choose those things. You know what I mean? Like when you're in a situation and you're feeling tempted to get angry or to be impatient, like maybe you're stuck in traffic or something,
Okay.
right? That's when you have to kind of take a step back and be like, okay, what would Jesus do? Like, would he be getting road rage right now? Or would he be, patient and kind?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's choosing to see the best in people,
Yeah.
to offer a helping hand, even when it's inconvenient, you know?
Totally.
Or forgiveness, that's a tough one.
Forgiving, yeah.
When
Yeah.
someone's really hurt you, that's a big one, but it's,
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
Yeah, it is.
And it's something that I think can really show people the love of God.
I completely agree. Okay, so we're living that out. We're building that foundation.
Right.
But then there's this whole other part of it, which is actually, sharing our faith, talking about God.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I struggle with this sometimes. Like, how do you approach those conversations without being pushy or judgmental?
Yeah, I totally get that. It's like you don't want to shove it down people's throats or
Right. Yeah.
no one likes that. I think the key is to just be genuine, share your personal experiences, talk about how God has worked in your life. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a specific story that comes to mind,
Yeah.
or just be a good listener. When someone is sharing their struggles or doubts, just listen to them with empathy. Don't try to fix them or preach at them,
That's good advice. Yeah.
and just be open to, sharing your perspective, but in a way that's respectful and loving.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I like that. Okay, so we've talked about living it out and talking about it.
Yeah.
But there's this other aspect too. Like the source talks a lot about actions speak louder than words.
Totally. Yeah.
Like sometimes it's not about what we say, but it's what we do.
Yeah.
Those acts of service that we can do for others.
Yeah, definitely.
So what stood out to you about that from the source? What are some practical ways that we can show God's love through our actions?
It could be as simple as just listening to a friend who's going through a tough time, really truly listening,
Yeah.
offering a prayer for them, being there for them.
Yeah.
Or maybe they need practical help. Maybe
Yeah.
they're moving or something. Or maybe their car broke down.
Yeah.
Just being there to help. And it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. It could be baking someone cookies or something.
Yeah.
Just a small act of kindness. Those little things can go a long way.
Yeah, I agree. And it all comes back to, like we were talking about earlier, being a vessel of God's light.
Yeah. Reflecting his love out into the world.
Right. It's we're not the source of the light.
Yeah.
God is the source.
Right.
But we can be these mirrors that reflect his light. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And when we do that, we can really make a difference in the world. It's when people see that genuine love and compassion, it inspires them. It can even draw them closer to God.
Yeah, I love that. It's creating this ripple effect.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I think we've covered so much great ground today.
We have. Yeah.
If we were to summarize, what's the main takeaway here? What do we want people to remember?
I think it's that, sharing God's love is a journey.
Yeah.
It starts with us, like we said, that internal transformation, choosing kindness, compassion, forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
and then it flows outwards into our actions, big and small.
Yeah.
And it's all about reflecting his love in everything that we do. I love that. That's a perfect summary. So before we wrap up, is there like a final thought that you want to leave people with?
Yeah, I would just challenge everyone listening to like think about one person in your life right now who needs a touch of God's love.
Yeah.
Like, what is one small but meaningful thing that you can do for them today? Maybe it's sending them a text message or giving them a call. Maybe it's like, offering to babysit their kids, just something small, but something that shows them that you care.
That is a great challenge. That's
Yeah.
something we can all do.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. And remember, even the smallest gestures can make a world of difference. So go out there and be the light.
Exactly. Be the light.